चलो शुरू करते हैं.
Let's get started.
Let's get started.
Let's get started.
بیایید شروع نماییم.
Please sit. अस्सलाम वालेकुम. मेरा नाम माहा सैयद है. मैं 4 नवंबर साल 1985 में पैदा हुई. माहा एक किस्म की अरब हरन है जिसकी पहचान उसकी आंखों की खूबसूरती है. मैं 3 भाई बहनों में से सबसे छोटी हूँ. Kadeen?
My name is Kadeen Herring. I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida on December 10th, 1991. I was born at Citrus Grove Hospital with a full head of hair. It was a mild winter. Amir?
My name is Amir Hassam Kafaju. I was born in Queens, New York on January 23rd, 1991. My middle name, Hossam, is my father's name. It is an Egyptian tradition for a father to give his name as the middle name to his children. Tiffany?
My name is Tiffany Yasmin Abdul Ghani. I was born in Southside Hospital on May 26, 1988 in Brentwood, Long Island. My father cried tears of joy when I was born. Firdaus?
نام من فردوس دیقان است. من در 15 ثور سال 1374 ساعت 9 شب در کابل، افغانستان متولد شدم. فصل بارانی بود. من هفتمین فرزند خانواده خود هستم.
A short history of Muslims in America.
A pop quiz.
What did two captains of two of Columbus's ships to the New World, the Pinta and the Nina, both have in common?
They were brothers and they were Muslims.
Who was Anthony Janssen van Sale and what was his religion?
He was one of the largest landholders in Long Island in 1640, and he was a Muslim.
What was the name of a Muslim who fought under George Washington during the American Revolutionary War?
بمپت محمد.
What was the first country to recognize the United States after the American Revolutionary War?
Morocco, a Muslim nation.
What book did John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, the second and third president of the United States, both have in their libraries?
The Quran.
Who was protected in Thomas Jefferson's bill for establishing religious freedom?
Jews, Gentiles, Christians, Hindus, Mohammedan, and infidels of every denomination.
What percentage of the slave population in the U.S. was Muslim?
Between 15 and 30%.
What were the names of the highest-ranking Muslim officers during the Civil War?
Captain Moses Usman and Nicholas Said.
What was the one book saved from the University of Alabama's library before it was burned in the Civil War?
A rare copy of the Quran.
Where and when was the first documented mosque built in the United States?
Ross, North Dakota, 1929.
What neighborhood in Manhattan covered the area from the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel to the World Trade Center from the late 1800s to the 1940s?
Little Syria.
But most of the Arab immigrants in Little Syria were Christian.
In 2015, which school system recognized the Muslim holidays of Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr, becoming the first in a major U.S. city to do so?
New York City.
1947.
1947.
1947.
1947.
1947.
1947.
August 15th, 1947.
India gains its independence, but it comes with great violence. As the British withdraw from colonial rule, the country divides into two, predominantly Hindu India and Muslim Pakistan.
1 million people are killed in the ethnic violence that follows. 14 million Hindus, Sikhs, and Muslims are displaced. It is the largest mass migration in human history.
During this time, Farhat is born. Her family is Muslim. Their neighbors are Hindu. Hindus are killing Muslims. Muslims are killing Hindus. It's neighbor against neighbor. Because Farhat's family has the largest house in town, the Muslim neighbors come to take shelter. There are 50 people crammed together in one house. The men take turns standing guard on the roof. They fire shots in the air to warn off potential attackers. One day, a Hindu neighbor comes to the door. He says,
All these bullets are hurting my mango tree.
he is speaking in code. What he means is,
We will not turn against you.
eventually, Farhat migrates to Pakistan with her family. She will become my mother.
1949.
1949.
Trinidad.
A young man named Donald wants to marry a young woman named Afrose. She comes from a strict Muslim family. They will not approve her marriage to a Christian. Donald converts to Islam and changes his name to Jamratman Ishmael Khan. They will become my grandparents.
1970.
1970.
The Bronx, New York.
Ishmael Khan and Afros moved to the Bronx with their daughter Florence. They are searching for a better life for their family. There are no mosques in their neighborhood. The family converts to Christianity. Florence will become my mother.
1971.
1971.
Kenneth Lamont Herring, like so many other African Americans in the 1960s and 70s, is inspired to become a Muslim by Malcolm X, the assassinated black civil rights leader. African American converts are reacting against Christianity, the religion of white supremacy of those who denied African Americans their civil rights. Kenneth Lamont Herring will become my father.
1980.
1980.
New York City.
Shahid Hussein, an immigrant from Trinidad, meets Florence Shanghai, also from Trinidad. It is love at first sight. Shahid and Florence and Shahid. He will give up his Muslim faith to marry Florence, who is Christian. They will become my parents.
1983.
1983.
Hossein Mohammed Kafaji moves from Egypt to New York to work at his uncle's clothing stores in Harlem and Queens. Hossein thinks America will be like the movies.
Prosperous.
Equitable.
Just
Safe.
The
land of opportunity.
But it's the height of the crack epidemic. As a new immigrant in New York City in the 1980s, it is an eye-opening experience. He sees
Crime.
Inequality.
Class discrimination.
Racism.
1987.
1987.
Jackson Heights, Queens.
Hossein Kafaji is working at his uncle's clothing store. A pretty girl works at Little Angels, the store next door. One day, he gathers his courage and says,
Hello.
1.
2.
3 eternities pass.
The pretty girl smiles at him. Her name is Margaret. She's Puerto Rican. Hossein and Margaret. Margaret and Hossein. They don't know it yet, but they will become my parents.
1989.
1989.
Kuwait.
I'm 4 years old and a tomboy. I like to hang out with the boys. My best friend is Mazen, and I beat him up all the time. My mom says,
Maha, that's what boys do. Girls don't do that.
when I want to play basketball, they want me to play tennis. When I want to play guitar, they want me to play piano. From an early age, I'm always the renegade.
1990.
1990.
Every summer, we visit my aunt on Long Island. This year, my dad stays behind in Kuwait for work. The summer comes to a close, and we're getting ready to go home. And then suddenly,
Iraq invades Kuwait.
Iraq invades Kuwait.
Iraq invades Kuwait.
August 2nd, 1990.
Iraq invades Kuwait.
suddenly, we can't go home, and my dad can't get out of Kuwait. Iraqi officials want to nationalize Kuwait's oil industry. My father is a chemical engineer. His skills are needed, so the Iraqis won't let him leave the country. We call him every single day. He always asks me,
Magoo, do you still have the gap between your front teeth?
at night, I cry myself to sleep. I miss my father. I'm 5 years old.
1990.
1990.
My father is determined to escape to the United States. His friends risk everything to help him. They take him to the airport, hiding in the back seat between two women. Then, they get to the checkpoint.
1.
2.
3 eternities pass.
Everyone waves their ID cards at the guards and they get through. My dad gets on a plane. We are finally reunited.
1992.
1992.
Long Island.
The bedtime stories my mother tells me are hadith.
The stories of the Prophet.
If someone is walking down a road and sees a rock, they should remove it, lest someone trip on it. That would be a good deed.
This story will stay with me always. To me, that is Islam. It's about doing right by others and doing right by you.
1995.
1995.
My mother, Margaret, the Catholic Puerto Rican from the Bronx, who married Hossam Kafaji, the Muslim Egyptian, decides to convert to Islam when I am 4 years old.
Her mother is not happy.
Her sister says,
You're just doing this for your husband.
but my father never pressures my mother to convert. It's her choice. She'll become fluent in Arabic.
1995.
1995.
Long Island.
I'm 10 years old. We visit my aunt every summer, and the girls and women are taught religious lessons in our living room. But the boys, they're outside playing basketball. I'd much rather be out there with them. My aunts will ask me,
Have you prayed? Why are you wearing that outfit?
This never happens to my brother. My mom insists that as a daughter, I need to learn how to cook. I say,
Faya eats 7 times more than I do. He should learn how to cook.
1996.
1996.
Cape Coral, Florida.
We live in a small, conservative town. Our family is pretty much the only non-white family there. We don't really fit in. My childhood revolves around Sunday school and church picnics. At the picnics, it is all American food.
Hamburgers.
Hot dogs.
Barbecue.
But at home, we eat a lot of Trinidadian food.
Curried goat.
Roti, a flatbread.
China and aloo. Chickpeas and potatoes.
We listen to Trinidadian music and dance to our favorite song.
1
cent, 5 cents, 10 cents, dollar. 1 cent, 5 cents, 10 cents, dollar. 1996.
1996.
West Palm Beach, Florida.
I was supposed to go to Disney World, but I had the chicken pox and had to stay home. There's also a full-blown hurricane outside. Just as I'm going upstairs,
A parked truck comes crashing in through the front door.
this is my earliest memory. I'm 5 years old.
1996.
1996.
After 10 years of the Soviet-Afghan war and civil war, the Taliban comes to power in Afghanistan.
They impose their own interpretation of Sharia law.
The set of laws that Muslim communities use to guide their daily lives.
Derived from the Quran and the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad.
Peace be upon him.
The Taliban's interpretation of Sharia includes
Public executions.
Amputation for acts of theft.
Men are required to grow beards at an approved length.
Women must wear the all-covering burqa.
women are banned from laughing loudly.
Girls are banned from going to school.
Women are banned from playing sports.
Television is banned.
Music is banned.
Movies are banned.
Kite flying is banned.
The list goes on.
And on.
And on. 1996.
1996.
It is the day after the Taliban takes control of Kabul. My father works as a civil servant. When he and his co-workers arrive at their offices, they find
Desks smashed.
Cabinets destroyed.
Chairs tossed everywhere.
the Taliban has already taken control of my father's workplace. He is out of a job, and so is my mother. She's a teacher, but under the Taliban, women cannot teach.
1997.
1997.
Jackson Heights, Queens.
I want to be like the kids on TV. I want to look like them. I want to talk like them. My cousins say,
Amir, أنت لست عربي كفاية.
Amir, you're not Arab enough.
Pero tú no eres boricua de verdad.
Amir, you're not Puerto Rican enough.
What are you?
I internalize these voices of shame. I'm 6 years old.
1998.
1998.
My mom cooks all kinds of Egyptian food.
Kofta.
Ground beef baked on a stick. A
Morhea.
rich soup with grape leaves.
She cooks Puerto Rican food too.
Fried plantains.
Rice and beans.
Chicken and stews.
But my siblings and I, we don't want any of that. We want
McDonald's.
1998.
1998.
Greenville, South Carolina.
My family moves from Florida to Greenville, a small conservative town. Everybody there is white and Baptist, except for a very small minority. It's really boring. My mother is Baptist, but my father is Muslim. Every Sunday, I go to the masjid.
The mosque.
I go to the masjid for religious instruction. Our masjid is half the state. Most of the kids are from Iraq or Jordan, but there's some from Indonesia, Morocco, Egypt, and Pakistan. I'm the only African American in the class, but everyone gets along. One day, my imam
He is spiritual teacher.
gives me a prayer mat he's brought back from Jordan.
This is the Muslim teaching of kindness.
1999.
1999.
Doha, Qatar.
We move frequently, and I have to start over at each new school. At the British schools, I'm teased because of my American accent. But when I transfer to an American school, I instantly have social status. Because South Asians in the Middle East are stereotyped as lower class, it's rare to see South Asian students as part of the popular crowd. But as an American, I can move between worlds. Years later, I will learn to question these hierarchies. But at 13, I just want to be popular.
1999.
1999.
New York City.
I'm 11 years old. My parents sent me to New York for the summer to stay with my aunts and cousins. New York is nothing like Florida. It's huge. There are people of all different colors and backgrounds. My aunt takes me to see...
The Brooklyn Bridge.
The Statue of Liberty.
Times Square.
At the Virgin Record store, I buy a CD.
Blondie.
I love New York.
1999.
1999.
Queens.
My dad opens a 99-cent store in Jackson Heights. I help him after school and on the weekends. It's a hangout for single Arab men.
Drinking coffee.
Telling jokes.
Listening to Arab music.
Around these men, I finally start to feel more connected to my Arab roots. I'm 8 years old.
2000.
2000.
Kabul, Afghanistan.
I'm really scared. I'm holding my mother's hand tight as we cross the street. We have to pass a Taliban station. What if they stop us? What if they hit my mother?
1.
2.
3 eternities pass.
Nothing happens. They let us pass. This is my earliest memory. I am 4 years old.
2000.
2000.
Stockbridge, Georgia.
We moved from Florida to Georgia for my dad's work. I leave behind Krista, my best friend since kindergarten. Stockbridge feels like an all-white town. I don't really fit in. At school, there's a boy named Faisal. He's from Afghanistan. He keeps himself and studies hard. I notice him because it seems like he doesn't have any friends either.
2000.
2000.
Long Island.
We moved back to the United States. It's my first day of 9th grade. I get on the bus and everyone is staring at me. The girl I sit next to asks me where I moved from. When I tell her that I moved from overseas, she says,
Wait, you lived on a boat?
when the other kids learn that I moved from the Middle East, they say,
Oh, did you ride camels?
I'm shocked at how little people know about the wider world.
2000.
2000.
Kabul.
Under the Taliban, we cannot watch TV. We listen to the BBC to hear what's going on in the world. Under the Taliban, there's no telephone service. We can only write letters to our family in New York City.
2000.
2000.
Georgia.
My dad's cousin Camille comes to visit from Trinidad. I haven't really met anyone from my dad's family before. I'm excited to meet her. When she arrives,
Surprise.
she's Muslim. She arrives wearing a hijab. I have never seen that before. I have never really met someone Muslim before, except for Faisal at school. I ask her why she wears the hijab.
I wear it to cover. It's my relationship with God.
Okay, but do you have to cover to have a relationship with God? Can't you just, pray?
I need this because it symbolizes my modesty and my purity, like what I have with God, my relationship with God.
Camille stays with me in my room during her visit. She shows me how she prays, how she does the wudu, washing her hands and face to purify. I'm surprised when she tells me,
You know, your father is Muslim too. He used to pray a lot. He used to go to the mosque.
2000.
One day we all go to the mall. This time Camille wears a niqab, covering everything but her eyes. Everyone is staring at us. My dad is embarrassed. I'm embarrassed and also confused. After Camille goes back to Trinidad, I ask my dad about being Muslim. He says,
I don't do that anymore.
and we don't talk about it again. I won't meet another Muslim person for a long time.
Two 2001.
2001.
2001.
2001.
2001.
2001. September 11th, 2001.
Long Island.
It's a normal day. I get up, have breakfast, and get dressed. I put on a t-shirt, a funky silkscreen of the World Trade Center, and head off to school. A short while later, the announcement comes over the intercom. A plane has flown in to Tower 1. In the confusion and fear that follows, my friend says,
Maha, your shirt.
I had totally forgotten I was wearing it. I go to my locker and put my gym shirt on. That night, there's a candlelight vigil on my street. My family doesn't usually participate in a lot of neighborhood activities. I tell my mom,
Mom, we have to do this. We're the only Muslim family on this street. We have to show our loyalty.
The same day.
Greenville, South Carolina.
I'm in my classroom at Pelham Road Elementary. There's an announcement on the intercom.
we have to close the school early. Something bad has just happened, and as a country, we need to be together. We are calling the parents now to come pick you up. Be safe. Be careful.
I'm waiting for my father.
1.
2.
3 eternities pass.
My father picks me up. He's quiet. He doesn't say anything. Then we go home and he turns on the TV. We watch the Twin Towers fall. Afterwards, my father says,
As a Muslim, things are going to change for you from now on. When you go to school tomorrow, prepare to have people target you. When you go to school tomorrow, some of your friends won't be your friends anymore. Don't be surprised if things change for you tomorrow.
Later that day,
Later that day.
Later that day,
later that day, our masjid is bombed. It hits the library and half the books are burned. Our masjid will be attacked again and again. No one is ever detained or charged. That's justice in America.
2001.
Stockbridge, Georgia.
flags.
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 Every house on our street has an American flag. After 9/11, all of a sudden, everyone wants to know where I am from. No one asked me that before. To Faisal, the boy from Afghanistan, the kids say,
Terrorists.
Terrorists,
Terrorists,
Go
back to your country.
I have always felt American. I was born here. But now I feel like I have to act more American. I start going to football games, wearing American flag shirts. I decided to change the pronunciation of my last name. I say,
oh, it's not Hussein, it's Hosen.
I feel ashamed. I don't want to be associated with the people on the news. I just want to fit in.
2001.
After the Twin Towers fall, for the rest of the school year, every project is a 9/11 project.
Write a letter to an American soldier at war against the infidels.
Draw a picture of a New York firefighter saving us from the evildoers.
Sing a song of patriotism for America.
2001.
Muslims are angry.
Muslims are evil.
Muslims are terrorists.
Muslims are being portrayed on TV and in the movies as crazy zealots who hate the United States. People around me watch the news and think they're experts on Islam. They watch.
Fox News.
Sean Hannity.
Rush Limbaugh.
My dad calls into these shows and he tries to debate, but he confuses me too. He says,
Osama bin Laden did it, and these are all bad guys. America should go and get them. They're making us look bad.
I don't want to be a Muslim anymore. I'm 10 years old.
2001.
Kabul, Afghanistan.
Gunfire.
Gunfire.
Gunfire! Gunfire!
US and NATO forces attacked the Taliban in response to 9/11. I hear gunfire near and far. It is not safe in Kabul. My mother says,
We are going to Kapisa.
we are going to my father's village. We are escaping from lawlessness, destruction, and sorrow.
2001.
The Taliban government collapses. Kabul is destroyed.
There are still suicide bombers.
There is still lawlessness.
There is still death and destruction.
There is still pain and sorrow.
اما زندگی میگذرد.
Yet, life goes on.
Life goes on.
Life always goes on.
And I can fly a kite again.
A night sky full of stars. Secrets that will not come from the heavens to the earth thus far. He shot a star across the sky to hit the jinn in the eye.
There is truth everywhere you look, and the rivers flow behind the swaying tree limbs in the holy book. Allah bless our beautiful lives, from which we will return naked and in no disguise.
Allah saw you when you cried, like before you, their tears surely dried. Now, from the clay that we are made, we have life to praise Allah every day.
5 times is the prayer, more times Allah will receive the glory. Faith is my passion. Conversion to Islam is my story. I was in a world of people, and there was one religion, one that I sought, where the word of the prophets had no revision.
It is plain to see with the humble heart. Allah loved you all and chose you from the start. You were a baby, a girl, a boy, a sister, a brother. He gave you a name, a wife, a husband, a child, a mother. He guided you with his might, opened the doors to Jannah as it rained, that you may be blessed and feel no sorrow, no pain.
He was stronger than any evil in the land, because they couldn't touch all the good that Allah planned. There was nobody as good as our last prophet. If you have the truth, wouldn't you two offer it?
Stand high, ruku, kneel, sajda. For there is nobody on this earth or thereafter to compares with you.
You are strong when I am in need. You are my friend when I break, bend, and bleed.
When nothing seems right and all hope has gone astray, Allahu Akbar. In my mind, in my heart, and my tongue, your words will stay.
2002.
2002.
Greenville Middle School.
There are 1,000 students and only 5 are Muslim. With a name like Kadeen, you can hide even if you want to.
Towelhead.
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 The white kids hate me. I'm always getting into fights, always getting jumped. But it's worse for Faraz, who is Jordanian. Greenville Middle School never teaches tolerance or understanding of other cultures. It is a narrow-minded world I live in. I tell my father I want to go back to Florida. He says,
No, you don't. It's even worse there.
at my masjid, we discuss how we're being treated. My imam says,
Put your best foot forward.
Don't give them an opportunity to judge you.
Show them that Muslim does not equal terrorist.
I think to myself,
What about the KKK?
What about the neo-Nazis?
What about gang crazy Americans shooting people?
An FBI study found that 94% of all terrorist attacks in the US were committed by non-Muslims.
it's like it's our job to make people feel like we are safe Muslims.
Assimilated.
It's like we need to be the Oreos of Muslims. White people say to me,
Oh, you're a nice Muslim. You make Muslims look like good people.
what the fuck do you mean we make Muslims look good? We're just people like anybody else.
2002.
2002.
My family moves back to Florida. I have to start over again. I go to Cape Coral High School.
Skater kids.
Nerds.
Football players.
Cheerleaders.
I don't fit in anywhere. I just want somewhere to belong. There's another group of kids that don't fit in anywhere.
The
Misfits.
But they're really nice to me. I start hanging out with them. Cutting class. Smoking. Hanging out behind the McDonald's. I start dressing like a goth punk. Pink hair, fishnet stockings, and short skirts. We're all kind of lost, but at least we're lost together.
2002.
I'm skipping school more and more. My grades are slipping. Krista, my one friend from before I moved, stops hanging out with me. She's a good girl, a good student, a star athlete. Her parents are worried that I'm a bad influence on her. Then one day,
One day,
One day,
One day.
my parents catch me cutting class. They say,
We don't like how you're acting. You need to start studying so you can go to college.
we are taking you out of Cape Coral High School. You're going to
Cape
Christian Academy.
2005.
2005.
Merry Christmas.
Every year, we call the Puerto Rican side of the family to wish them a Merry Christmas. My sister Zena says,
How come nobody calls us for Eid or Ramadan on our holidays?
my Aunt Rena, whom I love, calls Arabs.
Hasha Hasha people.
Sometimes my Catholic grandmother tries to make me break my fast during Ramadan. When my family repeats the ignorant things they hear in the media, I just want to say,
You're wrong. Your own family is Muslim. You should be the first to defend us.
but I can't. I just feel bad in the inside. I'm 14 years old.
2006.
2006.
At Cape Christian Academy in Florida, I spent 3 years studying the Bible and trying to lead a good Christian life, but I still don't fit in. I have so many questions. My parents want me to go to college, but I want to go to cosmetology school. I love doing hair and makeup. When I graduate, I am voted the student with
Best Christian values. 2006.
2006.
I'm a lonely, confused, and angry teenager. Greenville is
Boring.
Bigoted
Ignorant.
and stagnant.
my closest high school friend, Marina, who's half Japanese and half Italian, helps me get through it. We listen to hardcore and folk music together. We explore art fairs together. We both want to get out of Greenville. It is Marina who teaches me how to deal with ignorance. She says,
Never confront ignorance with anger. You don't want to drop down to their level.
when will I escape Greenville? I'm 15 years old.
2006.
2006.
In college, I'm an international relations major. I decide to study abroad in China. My parents are very concerned.
It's so far away. What will you do there by yourself?
We don't know anyone in China.
Why can't you just go to London?
My older brother is my biggest ally. He tells my parents.
This is important. This is for Maha's education.
I've always pushed the boundaries of what is acceptable for my family. My parents give me freedom in my choices, though they often disapprove. But education is the key. If I can make a case for education, I can usually win my dad over. My mom can't stay mad for long. I go to China.
2006.
2006.
I'm 15 years old. I convinced my parents to send me to visit my dad's family in Egypt. As soon as I step on the airplane, I feel like I'm already in Egypt. The flight attendants speak Arabic, they serve Arabic food. I'm so excited. Then, 11 hours later,
Welcome to Cairo.
Almost right away, I feel smothered by my father's family. I want to go sightseeing, but my older cousins just want to watch TV. Some days we don't even leave the house. One afternoon, I'm sitting in a McDonald's thinking,
I'm eating a Big Mac in Egypt. Why am I even here?
by the time I leave Egypt, I realize that I may be Arab in blood, but I'm not Egyptian. I don't belong.
2007.
2007.
Lahore, Pakistan.
I go to Pakistan for the summer to intern for a women's rights organization. I'm really excited, but I'm coming from an ivory tower perspective, all books and theory. On the ground, it's different. I see women coming from hundreds of miles away, desperate to escape abusive husbands and unable to get a divorce. It's devastating. It's easy to come charging in as a feminist and say,
This is unfair.
This has to change.
but change is hard. Because of repressive laws created in the name of religion, there's very little direct help the organization can offer. I leave Pakistan feeling emotionally destroyed.
2008.
2008.
Dix Hills, New York.
I'm a freshman at Five Towns College, a small private school. I have a 6-hour commute from Queens every single day. All the on-campus kids are white and privileged. All the commuters are black. They don't have the money for student housing, and neither do I, but I'm the only Arab around. Class differences stare me in the face.
2008.
Jackson Heights, Queens.
My father's struggling. The rent for his 99-cent store is just too high. He loses the store and starts driving a limo. He has a lot of high-end clients.
Jennifer Lopez.
Salma Hayek.
Tom Cruise.
Between going to a private college in a white suburb and watching my father serve the rich, my eyes are open to class, privilege, and inequality. We never see my dad anymore, and I miss him.
2008.
2008.
My favorite Pakistani tradition is weddings. Here's why.
1.
The Mehendi.
Before the wedding, the bride is decorated with henna. There's singing and dancing.
There's a girl side and there's a boy side.
There's a lot of trash talking in a sing-off.
The bride's sisters and cousins sneak up to the groom and grab his finger.
Then they refuse to let go until he pays them off.
2.
The groom arrives at the wedding hall in grand fashion.
The bride's brothers barricade the wedding hall entrance.
So that the whole groom side has to wait outside.
Until the groom pays off the bride's brothers to get out of the way.
3.
The nikah.
The religious part of the ceremony is sometimes held with the bride and groom in separate rooms so that they're veiled from each other until they're married.
The bride goes first and has to say she accepts the marriage 3 different times with 2 witnesses. Then the groom is asked
4.
The Barat.
The bride's sisters steal one of the groom's shoes and refuses to return it until a price is agreed upon.
I am the master negotiator at family weddings. At my cousin's wedding, we rake in $1,500. It is rowdy and fun, and there is just no topping it.
2008.
2008.
2008.
2008.
2008.
2008.
One night, my dad is waiting outside of a strip club with his limo for Redman, an associate of the Wu-Tang Clan, the hip-hop group.
Suddenly.
Suddenly,
Redman and his friends come running out of the club and dive into my father's limo.
Gunshots pop.
2008.
2008.
2008. Where's mom?
where's mom?
Where's mom?
It's morning, and mom's not home. Then she calls with the bad news.
Amir, I'm at the hospital with dad. He was shot in the back.
The doctors tell us
We can't remove the bullet. It's too close to his spine.
Your dad will survive, but he won't be able to work.
He's going to feel the bullet twisting in his body every day.
Yesterday, my father was the patriarch of his family who made it to America,
The land of opportunity.
Now, he can't work. He can't support his family. We're evicted from our apartment. I'm 17 years old.
2009.
2009.
Gardner-Webb University, North Carolina.
At Gardner-Webb University, a Christian college, I see Christian students behaving in very unchristian ways. I have a Muslim Turkish roommate who is gay and drinks alcohol. I've always admired Muslims from the Middle East, but I don't like people everywhere.
Complicated.
Contradictory.
I've been studying the Quran, the Bible, and the Torah, first to defend Islam, and then to question it. Why is Islam the perfect faith? Why is any faith the perfect faith? None of them seem perfect to me. I'm in search of answers.
2009.
2009.
Chuck E. Cheese is where a kid can be a kid. Chuck E. Cheese is where a kid can be a kid.
I'm working at Chuck E. Cheese and going to college. I have to help support my family. Since I'm not a waiter, I don't get any tips. I make $8.50 an hour. The worst part is I have to put on the Chuck E. Cheese mouse costume for birthday parties. At least now I could pay for my own Metro card, but my grades start to fall. At the end of my second semester, I drop out of Five Towns College.
2010.
2010.
I join the Peace Corps. I'm sent to the Dominican Republic to work on women's empowerment and community economic development. During training, a friend asks,
Do you think you're going to lie about being Muslim while you're here?
I've traveled all over the world and it's never occurred to me to hide my Muslim identity. I tell him,
I've never done it to this point, and I don't need to start now.
2010.
2010.
Kabul.
My friend Samiul Haq hasn't come to school for a few days. When he finally shows up, I ask him why. He says,
My uncle died. He was walking on the road at night when a NATO helicopter shot him dead. My uncle is not Taliban, so why did they kill him?
2010.
2010.
December 17, 2010.
Sidi Bouzid, Tunisia.
Police in Tunisia confiscate the streetcar of Mohammed Bouazizi, a young fruit seller without a permit. He's the only breadwinner for his mother and 6 siblings.
Humiliated and frustrated, he stands before a government building and sets himself on fire. He dies. His death sparks a long-simmering movement to erupt. The people rise up against inequality.
It's the beginning of the Arab Spring.
2011.
2011.
Bayside, Queens.
Revolution is sweeping across the Arab world. I'm glued to the TV with my dad. He's arguing every day on the phone with our family in Egypt. The Arab Spring is dividing my family along class lines. My father's happy and energized by the revolution, but the richer members of my family are afraid. I think to myself,
If it can happen in Egypt, it can happen anywhere.
2011.
2011.
Kabul.
I'm on a bus. We are about 600 feet from my high school. An American military convoy is in front of us. When suddenly,
Suddenly,
there's a huge explosion. I'm in shock. A suicide bomber has struck the convoy.
2011.
2011.
Every time I go to school, my parents worry.
Firdaus, where are you? There's just been another explosion.
I don't feel free or safe here. Every day I go to school and then go directly home. Things are getting worse day by day. Then, good news comes. My mother tells me,
Your uncle said they're starting the paperwork to bring us to America.
my grandmother and 5 of my uncles are there. I'm really excited. I'm going to
New York City!
Two 2011.
2011.
2011.
2011.
2011.
2011.
September 17th, 2011.
New York City.
Banks got bailed out, we got sold out.
Banks got bailed out, we got sold out.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
All day, all week.
All day, all week.
Occupy Wall Street.
Occupy Wall Street. I go down to Occupy Wall Street. The most engaging people I meet are people of color and low-income people. But I see a lot of middle-class white people controlling the show. I realize that even though this movement is billed as anti-hierarchy, there's still a hierarchical system here too. I'm inspired to get involved in political and community organizing.
2011.
2011.
Long Island.
I'm working odd jobs at the mall, living with my parents. I want something more from life. One day I go to the hair salon. I meet Aruna. Her mom owns the salon. She's about my age. She's wearing a hijab. I start asking her questions about Islam. Because I am curious, I ask her why she wears the hijab.
I wear it for God because it's part of the religion and it's required of me. And I like it too. It's very nice.
We talk about her family from Pakistan and what kind of food they eat. She tells me about her classes at Queen's College and how she studies on weekends. Her life seems so different than mine. I think.
I wonder if my life could be more like that.
2012.
2012.
I'm ready to make a change in my life. I tell Aruna that I'm ready to convert to Islam. She takes me to meet her friends at Queen's College Muslim Student Association. I tell the chaplain that I want to take my Shahada, the testimony that you believe in Allah, to become Muslim. The moment I make the declaration, something is different. I know this is going to be a beautiful change for me. I'm at peace.
2012.
2012.
New York City.
The hurricane.
2 weeks after I returned from the Dominican Republic, Hurricane Sandy sweeps across the city, leaving devastation in its wake.
2 million people without power.
23,000 businesses impacted.
$19 billion in damage.
Sandy reveals just how great the divide is between the rich and the poor, the haves and have-nots in New York City.
Some of the worst hit areas in Brooklyn are in immigrant communities with few resources and almost no political voice.
I am fluent in both Urdu and Spanish. I get a job with the Shorefront Y in Brighton Beach, working with immigrants, documented and undocumented, to advocate for their rights and financial compensation after Sandy. You don't need to travel the world to find injustice and inequality. It's right here, in our own backyard.
2012.
2012.
Khan, friends.
I get a scholarship to study abroad. I leave my narrow world behind. I'm in search of answers. At first, it's tough. I don't speak French. I don't have any money. But my world grows bigger in France. I have Moroccan friends, Spanish friends, French and Dutch friends. I meet a transgender person for the first time. Soon after I moved to France, Trayvon Martin, an unarmed black youth, is killed in Florida. My friends ask,
Why is there so much hatred between cops and minorities in America?
Why do people assume that blacks are violent there?
I don't have answers for them.
2012.
2012. When I tell my parents I have converted to Islam, they say,
We know you, Tiffany. You don't seem like you're going to be the best example of being Muslim.
I can learn. Eventually, my mom says,
If this is what you want, I will support you.
2012.
2012.
Greenville, South Carolina.
I'm home visiting my family. After dinner, we sit and watch TV. My father says,
You've changed a lot. Are you still practicing Islam?
I don't practice anymore.
When you're older, you might change your mind.
Since I was a child, I struggled to behave, speak, and think as a Muslim. I had trouble accepting the rigid gender roles ascribed to men and to women. I had trouble with the homophobia because I identify as queer. I had trouble believing in a God that must be He. And I had trouble believing in a God, Muslim, Christian, Jewish, or otherwise, that could allow slavery to exist, that could allow injustice to exist.
2013.
2013.
I've always been an easy-to-digest Muslim. I look and talk and dress and act like everyone else, whatever the hell that means. Some people look at me and say,
You're not as Muslim as someone who wears the hijab.
I don't understand how people can presume to define the faith and identity of others and somehow put you on a scale, as if one's spirituality can be given some kind of a number. Today I'm a 3, but Ramadan's coming up, so I should really scale up to be an 8.
2013.
2013. I decided to go back to school at LaGuardia Community College. I didn't wear the hijab when I first converted, but now I decide to wear it. It's not easy to learn to tie it. I have to watch YouTube videos. On the first day of classes, when they call my name,
Tiffany?
people are always surprised when I raise my hand to see that Tiffany is a girl who covers. One day, a boy tries to give me a Bible in class. I just say politely,
No thanks.
but inside I'm thinking,
You know, I've read it already.
2013.
2013.
Chuck E. Cheese is where a kid can be a kid. Chuck E. Cheese is where a kid can be a kid. Chuck E. Cheese is a dead-end job. I want to finish my degree, so I register at LaGuardia Community College. It's not fair to my father if I don't. If I succeed, it'll make his sacrifices worthwhile. I've got to make a living, but I don't like the system. So how do I negotiate?
2013.
2013.
Done, North Carolina.
I'm visiting my grandma, Edna China. It's extremely country and done and a long way from France.
It is very isolated.
It's a barren old town that technology and progress bypassed.
There's nothing but cotton and dirt fields.
This is where my father's roots are. To this day, railroad tracks divide the white part of town from the black part of town. The Ku Klux Klan marches through Dunn whenever it likes. The neo-Nazis have a headquarters there. Why don't people think of them as terrorists?
2013.
2013.
Kabul, Afghanistan.
Khuda Hafiz.
Huda Hafez.
Hula Hafiz.
Huda Hafiz.
Khuda Hafiz.
May Allah be with you.
12 people come to Kabul airport to say goodbye. They are crying. My mother and sisters are all crying. We are leaving our homeland.
We're happy that you're going to a beautiful, powerful country.
We wish you a good life, a better life.
And then we get on the plane to a new world.
2013.
We arrive in New York City. My first American meal is
Pizza.
In Kabul, we lived in a house with a stove for heat. We wash our clothes by hand. Now in Elmhurst, Queens, we live in a building with heat and laundry in the basement. My neighbors are immigrants from everywhere. We thought when we got to America, all we would see are white people. کجا هستن مردمان سفید؟
Where are the white people?
2014.
2014. New York City.
After 2 years in France, the small-town boy comes to New York City. I get a job at Old Cafe on 6th Avenue. The employees are mostly poor, mostly of color, and all from the Bronx. The people of color come into Manhattan to work for the white people. Can't afford to live here. There's a 17-year-old kid who spends $20 a day on lunch. He spends in 2 weeks what I earn in 2 weeks.
2014.
2014.
Chuck E. Cheese is where a kid can be a kid. Chuck E. Cheese is where a kid can be a kid. I finally have enough money to get the hell out of Chuck E. Cheese. Tonight is my last night there, and there's a birthday party. And I have to dance in that stupid mouse costume. One of the guests gets into a fight with the manager and throws birthday cake all over the fucking walls and on the floor. I gotta clean everything up. After 5.5 years here, I've only ever gotten a 50 cents raise. I'm done.
2014.
2014.
I'm studying at the new school. A student there says,
I'm not racist or anything. I just think Muslims take their religion too seriously.
what about the Christian right?
But why is it okay for Muslims to treat women as second-class citizens?
You can say the same about middle-class America. Women still get paid less than men, and men still want to control women's bodies.
But why do women have to wear the hijab?
Or I grew up near Bob Jones University. Baptist girls still wear skirts down to their ankles. Hasidic Jewish women here cover their hair too.
Why are Muslims so violent?
Why are Americans so violent?
2014.
2014.
I have a job at Key Food in Sunnyside. One of my coworkers asked me,
Where are you from?
I'm from Afghanistan.
Oh, the Taliban. Well, that's all right. I know a lot of Afghans. You're all good people.
Then I get a job in a clothing store in Jackson Heights. The owner asks,
Where are you from?
I'm from Afghanistan.
Oh, the Taliban. Afghans are all Taliban. They all support the Taliban.
I don't support the Taliban. They kill our people every day.
We're spending a lot of our tax money fighting terrorists over there. It doesn't make any sense because they kill American troops.
They kill Afghan troops too.
Days later, Firdaus is fired.
2014.
2014. Flatbush, Brooklyn.
I live in a Caribbean neighborhood in Brooklyn. For the first time, I encounter...
Stop
and frisk.
There are 2 cops who always harass me to enter my building. They ask,
What are you doing here?
I live here.
Let me see your ID.
They always have something to say to me. Being a Muslim isn't a problem, but being black is.
2014.
2014.
People ask me,
What do you think about gender issues within Muslim culture?
and then I always have to break that down. I ask,
When you say Muslim culture, Which one?
Being Muslim in Lebanon is not the same as being Muslim in Indonesia, and that is not the same as being Muslim in Sudan.
People talk about culture and Islam as if they're somehow separate from each other, as if one can be turned off while the other is examined. The strongest influences in my life are my culture, my religion, and my feminism. Each informs and strengthens the other, and they make me who I am. We like to separate and categorize people into census boxes, but the human spirit is more complicated than that.
2014.
2014. I'm proud to wear the hijab. I want people to know that I am Muslim and know that my story can be a Muslim story. Before I started wearing the hijab, if I went to the city, I would get a certain kind of harassment.
Nice legs.
Nice smile.
Now I get a different kind of harassment. I take the Long Island Railroad and people just stare at me all the time. I imagine they are thinking that I'm going to blow up the train or something. One day, I'm talking to my mom on the phone in English, and an old white lady sees me, and she says,
You need to come off of your cell phone.
and I'm like, why? And she's really rude.
You need to go back to your country.
I don't say anything, but I'm really mad inside. I don't want to retaliate and put a bad image out there for Muslims. I don't need to defend myself. I know I was born here. I'm proud of who I am.
2014.
2014.
LaGuardia Community College.
I meet Michael, an Italian American, in my accounting class. He asks,
Where are you from?
I'm from Afghanistan.
Oh, I heard about the Taliban. But I don't know that much about Afghanistan.
Michael becomes my first American friend. We both have an interest in politics. Most American students are interested in fashion, pop culture, and iPads. They are generally not interested in politics. But it is important.
2014.
2014.
I am Sunni Muslim. My parents are practicing. My mother a lot. My father less so, and I'm in the middle. Being a good Muslim is to believe in peace. Same as a good Christian, someone who doesn't discriminate, who helps people in need. For Eid, the end of Ramadan, we go together with my uncles to a mosque in Flushing. This is the time to remember and help the poor.
To celebrate.
To visit with family.
To make special treats for friends.
To say,
Eid Mubarak.
Happy Eid to you.
2015.
Terror attacks in Paris shock the world.
the mass media goes into overdrive.
Yet again, I'm exhausted by having to explain how the ideals of Islam are separate from the motives of radical extremists.
I'm heartbroken and uneasy. As tragic as the recent events in Paris are,
Many lives were lost in Nigeria just a few days earlier.
And Beirut the day before.
Where's the media coverage on those tragedies?
the terror the French feel is the same terror Syrian refugees.
Nigerian refugees?
And Afghan refugees are trying to flee.
It has been 14 years since 9/11, and the political backlash against Muslims today makes it feel like history is just repeating itself.
Once again, I feel unease with my backpack on the subway, the need to dim my voice when speaking to my mother on the phone in Urdu. I find myself holding my breath while passing through airport security.
Our stories from 14 years ago are repeating themselves.
I'm no longer a teenager, no longer unsure of myself, but the fear is still real. It makes me wonder what I've spent my life fighting for. I'm not sure about much anymore, but I know that I can't be a bystander, so I keep fighting.
2016.
New York City.
I like how people of all backgrounds voice their opinions strongly here when they believe an injustice has been committed. Currently, I'm doing a lot of outreach programs for the African American community. Although I have left Islam, most of the culture of my faith is still important to me. I still don't eat pork. I still wake up before the sun rises. And I still believe in kindness.
2016. I'm still learning and changing. My family is really accepting of everything in my life, and they support my decisions. I'm not wearing the hijab all the time anymore. I still wear it when I go to the mosque and when I pray. This is the life that I want. Islam is making my life wonderful. It's flourishing. I'd like everyone to see me shine. 2016.
I am happy here, but sometimes I think
Why did we immigrate here?
it is hard for my father, who feels isolated here. He has lost his home, his career, and his country. I think to myself,
This is not a home for us.
but then I see the opportunities in this country and the safety and security, and I say,
This is a home.
eventually I want to go to law school, but I have to get a job to support my family first. It is important. I'm interested in public interest law. I like to help people.
2016.
There was a time in my life when I wanted to whitewash myself and said,
I'm just an American, plain and simple. I'm going to fit in.
but no, I'm not just plain and simple. I'm richer than that. I'm an Arab Rican who will not hide for his Muslim heritage. I've got to stand up for my Islamic identity to show people that Islam is more than their ignorance.
2016.
I'm an ethnically Pakistani, Muslim, Kuwaiti born American. I've lived in Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, China, Pakistan, France, the Dominican Republic, Timor-Leste, and the United States. I attended 16 schools in 20 years. I'm used to being seen as a minority, an outsider. I've been like the one Pakistani person in Beijing. And yet, I've never felt like a minority in New York City, and that's probably why I feel like I belong here. New York will always be home.
My name is Firdaus Dehkan. I was born on April 28, 1996 at 9 p.m. in Kabul, Afghanistan, 6 months before the Taliban invade my city. My name, Firdaus, means paradise or heaven. It was the rainy season. Kadeen?
My name is Kadeen Herring. I was born in West Palm Beach, Florida on December 10th, 1991 in Citrus Grove Hospital. I'm the middle child, the black sheep of the family. My name means best friend or kindness, which is a pretty fitting name for me. It was winter. Amir?
My name is Amir Hossam Kafaji. I was born in Flushing Hospital in Queens, New York on January 23rd, 1991, a month later than my due date. I weighed 10 pounds, 5 ounces. My mother said I was a pain in the ass before and after I was born. I'm an Arab Rican from Jackson Heights, Queens. It was snowing. Tiffany?
My name is Tiffany Yasmin Abdelghani. I like to use my middle name, Yasmin, because it is my Muslim name. I was born on May 26, 1988, in Brentwood, Long Island. It was spring. Maha?
My name is Maha Sayed. I was born on November 4th, 1985 in Kuwait City, Kuwait. My brother picked my name out of his 5th grade yearbook, so I'm probably named after some girl he had a crush on. It was November, but it's always hot in Kuwait.